A wonderful good morning to one and all present over here. First of all, I feel very proud and honored to welcome our guest keynote speaker, Mr. Arvind Sakya Misra, the Senior Director, ML Pharmaceutical from USA. I feel honored to welcome our Honorable CEO, Mr. Prasad Pillai. At the same time, I feel delighted to welcome our Registrar, Dr. Syam Patkarji. I am also honored to welcome Dean Welfare, Dr. Namis Mehta. It's my great pleasure to welcome all the principals, directors, and faculty on the campus and off the campus. I also like to welcome all my dear student and all the participant from our university and from other university. Today is the day of great achievement for us, and I am humbled to all the global leader of pharma fraternity to give their concern for our webinar series, keeping out of their busy schedule. Thank you all keynote speaker for their concern letter. Still, I receive letter from all around the world. At the same time, I like to pay my gratitude to our honorable CEO for his great support and for hosting this webinar series. Sir, your kind and encouraging words strengthen and inspire us. I would like to thank our honorable chairman for his unconditional love and support during this corona pandemic situation. I pay my heartfelt gratitude to our honorable CEO sir, Prasad Pillai sir, and honorable chairman sir, Dr. Sunil Kapoor sir, for not clipping our wings and letting us fly during this situation, for the reason we are here today. I am proud, and in fact, I am very much proud to be a part of BHABHA University, who is going to organize first international webinar series of its own kind. The first university in Bhopal to organize such a international webinar series of its own kind. I am proud that we can work together. We can work together and show the world that the pharma fraternity people can work together under any condition, and they can achieve their goal in pharma education and research. Dear all, today I am happy that we are together in online platform fighting for a good cause. Dear student, this webinar not just a session. It is for those students who want bright future, who want knowledge and better education. It is for those students who are trying to find a gateway between the industry and institute. It is for those who want to go for research and who want to go for innovation. I am here to stand up for those rights of the student, to help them in every aspect of their career and academics. I feel very proud and honored to welcome our guest keynote speaker, Mr. Arvind Sakya Misra, the Senior Director, ML Pharmaceutical from USA. Let me tell you, he is my senior also in my college days. So it is a great pleasure for me to meet him again in this platform.
Good morning, everyone. This is Rajni Deshpande, Principal of BHABHA Polytechnic Pharmacy. Moving ahead in the webinar series, our keynote speaker for today's function is Mr. Aravind Akshay Mishra, Certified Quality Auditor based at New Jersey, US, working as Senior Director, Quality for Amneal Pharmaceuticals. He has done his post-graduation in pharmacy from MS University, Baroda with more than 2 decades. He has extensive experience in complete life cycle management of various pharmaceutical dosage forms, including complex generics like transdermal delivery system, inhalation products, drug device combined products in active pharmaceutical ingredient. He has also got leadership experience in both global strategic tactical site roles across manufacturing quality and complication functions. He has led quality partnership with US, Japan, Europe-based pharmaceutical CMOs, CROs for portfolio of new product development. He has rich experience of managing quality oversight for various external partners and service providers globally at various capabilities. CROs for portfolio of new product development and launches have also been done with him. He has even worked with esteemed organization Dr. Reddy, Bellingtrode Pharmaceuticals, Rambexi, IPCA, Vocard, etc. Sir, we are very glad to have your esteemed presence here. He will guide us about the salient features on the topic quality system regulation for drug device combination products. BHABHA University welcomes Mr. Aravind Akshay Mishra, Certified Quality Auditor. Welcome, sir, to BHABHA University.
Thank you, Dr. Rajni, and my heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Shyam Patkar, and of course, my dear junior, my dear brother, Sailesh. We are from the same college. I really feel proud to see him here. And many thanks for inviting me to be to share some of my thoughts, or whatever I could share with the students, colleagues, and which definitely I feel is the betterment of the profession. So thank you for inviting me to say something on the history, what is going on this device combination products. So before we start,
just 1 second. Before you start, I like to welcome our Honorable Registrar BHABHA University to say a few words regarding our webinar.
Thank you.
Dr. Shyam Patkar, sir.
Okay. Good morning to all of you. Today, special speaker Ravindra Mishra sir, New York. Today, international webinar series, BHABHA University, hosted by Faculty of Pharmacy. Our university vision and mission of the webinar is to update mass people to find the gateway between institute and industry. I would like the great honor, proud our Indian pharma team across the world, like Geneva, New York, New Jersey, and other countries. These webinar series, first time in India. This webinar is very important and very useful for all pharmaceutical students and faculty. Last, सर्वे भवन्तु सुखना सर्वे सन्तु निरामया. इंडियन फार्मा का जो मेन मोटो है, सभी को एडवांटेज मिले. और इस समय जो करंट पैंडेमिक सिचुएशन है, फार्मा ने पूरे वर्ल्ड को ध्यान रखा है. और मैं चाहूँगा प्रोफेसर मिश्रा हमारे स्टूडेंट्स को, फैकल्टी को से काफ़ी उनको मोटिवेशन मिलेगा और एडवांटेज मिलेगा. मैं उनका एक बार फिर BHABHA यूनिवर्सिटी की ओर से हृदय से स्वागत करते हैं. धन्यवाद.
Now I request our guest, my senior brother, to start with.
Thank you, Dr. Sailesh, and thank you, Dr. Shyam Patkar, and I really appreciate your time for coming and joining this webinar series. This shows the dedication of the institute towards the development and improvement of the students, which the load each have taken. to bring the profession to that extent. So I really heartily congratulate the entire team for this, and thank you so much. So before we start and get into the topic, I keep on giving this different universities and different institutes this some talks to talking to students and explaining them about the future part of the pharmacy, where do they go and what should they do. So I remember one instance in one of the university I was talking, and one of the student, I was physically was there. One of the student asked me, sir, how can I prosper? Can you tell me I'm doing pharmacy? Is it the right stream I'm doing? Am I in the right way? Am I going to the right structure? Then I said, remember one thing, you be in pharmacy, be in medical profession, be a science graduate, be an arts graduate, or whatever profession you choose. My father taught me one thing which I always follow. So in our Shastra, there is something called 5 va. So that's called Bakar. So 5 vas are there. It says Vidvaya Bapusa Bacha Bastrena Bibhavena Cha Bakar Panchafir Jukto Naraha Prapnuti Gaurabam. That means Vidya means Vidya, the knowledge. Bapusha means your physical structure, your body, how you look like. Okay. Vidvaya Bapusa, and then Bacha, how you speak, your communication skills. Vastrena, your attire, how you keep yourself tidy, how you look like in your dresses, if you are well tidy, well dressed. Of course, the money is required to have wealth. So if you have all these 5 vas, so Bakar Panchavirjiktu Narha Prapnoti Gauravam, anybody having combination of all these 5 will definitely prosper in the life, will become famous, will gain success. So this is my advice to all the students who are listening to this discussion, is try to gather all these things in your life. Only by connecting or only by getting into an institute or university, learning your curriculum may not be able to get you to the higher extent. You have to be complete in all these areas. So what I am going to talk to you is may not be in your curriculum, may not be something which you have heard of, and you might be thinking what this guy is going to talk about or something drug device combination products, right? So this will let you know that something which is the most buzzword now across the world in all advanced countries, including India. Everybody is now talking about device, medical device, drug device combination products. What are those things? Being a pharmacy student, you need to prepare yourself before you step into the professional world. So that is what I thought I was discussing with Shailesh, that do you think this subject will be good? He said that people need to know about these things because this is upcoming. This may or may not be in the curriculum, but this is upcoming, and this technical knowledge and information from industry will be very helpful for the students. So that is the reason I thought of, bringing this topic to all of you. So let me start with this. So I will minimize this. Can you see my screen? So let's go to the topic. Quality system regulations for drug device combination products. The topic itself is broken into different pieces. So in today's discussion, the agenda will be, we will discuss about definitions of drug device and drug device combination products, the history of medical device regulations, medical device classification, drug device combination product classification, general and streamlined approach for the industry, and then the quality system regulation, what the QSR means, the quality system regulation means, that we are going to talk. Now, my request is any one of you who are listening to me have any question, you can type in or you can share with your moderator and we can talk after the discussion is done. If something is difficult to you, please note it down. I will try to explain you if it is within my knowledge. So let's go to the definition of drug product. You all are aware, you are all reading about this. What is drug product? Drug product is a finished dosage form, for example, tablet, capsule, oral solutions, etc., which contains an active ingredient, which is a drug substance, but not necessarily in association with an active ingredient. Sometimes directly the drug is also applied. The term also includes a finished dosage form that does not contain an active ingredient, but is intended to be used as a placebo. That's called a drug product. Now, we know about drug product. We need to know about what is medical device. A medical device is an instrument, an apparatus, an implement, a machine, a contrivance, an implant, an in vitro reagent, or any other similar or related articles that falls under the classification of medical devices. For example, if you I don't know whether if you go to a clinic, you will see there is a doctor's desk on which they will lie you down and then they examine you. So the doctor's examination desk itself is a medical device, intended for use in the diagnosis of disease or other conditions, or in the cure, mitigation, treatment, or prevention of disease in man. Any type of devices like your sphygmomanometers, which you use for the measurement of your blood pressures, your monitors of any such instruments which are used in ICUs in any part of the hospital or in the clinics, they all fall under the medical devices, intended to affect any function of the body. So those medical devices are also those things which are also used in the part of the body of human beings to provide any support, or they can give any medications or any sort of medical support and therapeutic impact the structure or any function of the body. And medical devices does not achieve its principal intended purpose by chemical action or by being metabolized. Now we know in pharmacy that, we were studying the ADME, absorption, distribution, metabolism, elimination, how a drug reacts. In pharmacology, we study all those things. Okay, so medical devices, how we differentiate is they do not achieve its principal intended purpose, like the way they provide the treatment, the way they give you the treatment. It is not by any chemical action or by any metabolized action. So they work as a delivery method. They work as a media to deliver the drug or deliver the product or deliver the medicine to the human beings. As low risk as a tongue depression or a thermometer, as complex and high risk as robotic surgery devices. These all fall under the medical devices. They can be as simple as a thermometer, or they can be just a tongue depressor. When you go to doctor, if they will put the tongue depressor, say ah, like that. So that's called tongue depression. So all those things falls under the medical devices. Then we are coming to our buzzword that's called combination products. So the word itself, the English, the combination, it's a combination, it's a combination product. So there is a regulation in the 21 CFR 3.2e. It says combination products are therapeutic and diagnostic products that combine drugs, devices, and or biological products. So very simple, combination products are a combination of drug and devices and or biological products. So combination is easy to understand. For example, if you have a drug-eluting stent, casing lead with steroid-coated tip, catheter with antimicrobial coating, these all are drug-device combination products. Examples of combination products where the components are packaged together, drug or biological products packaged with a delivery device. We'll come to the next slide. Combination products are defined in the 21 CFR. The term combination product includes a drug product comprised of two or more regulated components, that is drug device, biologic device, drug or biologic product, or drug device biologic, all three that are physically, chemically, or otherwise combined or mixed and produced as a single entity. Now, in Europe, the drug device combination product is a combination of medical device and medicinal product as per the medical device directive. So the regulation which is followed in Europe is the medical device directive. They define differently this combination product. They say one is called drug delivery products, prefilled syringes, patches for transdermal drug delivery systems, implants containing medicinal products, which are in a polymer matrix and whose primary purpose is to release the medicinal product. Intrauterine devices, whose primary purpose is to release progestrogens, drug delivery pump, nebulizers, port systems, and syringes. So these all are defined as drug delivery products as part of the medical device directive of Europe. Medical devices incorporating a medicinal substance. Now, this is something where it is impregnated or coated, like for example, catheters coated with heparin, condoms coated with spermicides, drug-eluting coronary stents. So these all are the examples of drug-device combination products. Now, we will go to the history of medical devices. So how this medical device, when you study in pharmacy, in B.Pharm or M.Pharm, or even if in your higher classes, you must have studied about the history of drug, history of pharmacy, and all those things. I was trying to find out in the internet that how this history of medical devices come into the picture, how it has come to the regulations, right? So just summarize here for the benefit of the students. In 1968, there was a Radiation Control for Health and Safety Act. Now, this Radiation Control for Safety and Health and Safety Act is used for performance standards for radiation emitting products. That is, for example, diagnostic X-ray machines, MRIs, microwaves, ultrasound devices, UV devices, and laser devices. So these devices are always in use. In 1968, there was an act formed controlling the radiation control for the health and safety of the patients. After that, in 1976, this is the evolution, how slowly the medical device regulation is evolving. Medical device amendments to the FD&C Act. This provides the reasonable assurance of the safety and effectiveness of medical devices. This also talks about the risk-based classification system, how you classify the medical devices based on the risks, and what is the regulatory pathway for new medical devices. Now, if you want to manufacture and market in different other countries, what are the regulatory pathways? What do you need to file? What do you need to add into your applications? Those all are defined in the medical device amendments to the FD&C Act. And also it talks about it also did the establishment of several key post-market requirements. Whenever you use a medical devices, what are its post-market? You commercialize, if it is available in the market, what information you need to collect, what information you need to share with FDA, what information you need to be aware of, so that you always produce a good quality of product. So that is all amended, and that is all part of this medical device amendment to the FD&C Act. In 1990, there was, which was the most interesting part of the drug device and the device part, is the Safe Medical Devices Act. You will see here most of the things which now we are following has been incorporated. That's called SMDA. Authorized, this regulation authorized FDA to order a device recall. And it was not there. You just put the product in market, it goes on. If it is not working, just throw it. But when they fall under this SMDA Act, these authorized the FDA to order device recalls and impose the civil penalties for violations of the FD&C Act. It gives the modified procedures for the establishment, amendment, or revocation of performance standards. If the performance standards which are used for the existing products in the market, if it doesn't work, you can amend. How to amend? FDA has given all those things in this Safe Medical Devices Act of 1990. This also talks about requiring user facilities such as hospitals and nursing homes to report the adverse events involving medical devices. Any of those users, consumers who are using these medical devices, any of the devices, as we talk about X-ray machines, MRIs, all those things which are used, these requires those users' facilities to report the adverse events involving the medical use of those medical devices in their facility. Now, if you look at this, the movement, the way this act started from medical devices, moved into combination product. So in 1970s, first combination products, they fall under the FDA regulatory authority requirements. In 1990s, the Safe Medical Services Devices Act we just were talking about, this includes the provision for the regulation of combination products. So this SMDA in 1990 includes the requirement for the regulation of a combination product. That's the first time happened. In 1991, product jurisdiction regulations, including on CFR Part 3, was included. In 1997, the regulation of combination product falls under the FDA Modernization Act. So FDA started designing the regulations and implementing it across the industry for the combination product. In 2002, Medical Device User Fee and Modernization Act, the MDUFMA, that's called MEDUFMA of 2002, which is published out of the Office of Combination Products, and that was established by FDA. In 2004, the draft CGMP for combination product was published. This actually is before the 2013 final rule, which was 21 CFR Part 4, the current good manufacturing practice requirements for combination product. This is where the major thing started. So in a nutshell, 2013, actually from 2002 onwards, the strong evaluation, the strong requirement of the medical devices has started evolving in the regulated countries, including US, Europe, and now I saw in India is also greatly preparing for the different laws and regulations for the medical devices to be imported or to be domestically manufactured in India. So that is why I thought of giving you a brief history about how this drug device combination products has evolved as part of the medical device regulations and combination product regulations. Now, these are some of the recent developments and the new guidances, which are, this is in the public domain. You can easily access those things. It talks about the post-market safety reporting, which describes about the post-marketing safety of the requirements, how the combination products are applicable to them. Minimize duplicative reporting. There is also guideline as a current good manufacturing practice requirement for combination products and published in 2017. The CGMP requirements that apply to each of the constituent parts, which is applicable to the combination product they constitute. And it is applicable to all combination products. So 2017 guideline is the Bible for any industry manufacturing the drug device combination product. If you're preparing yourself after the completion of the pharmacy to join in a device or drug device combination product industry, need to read, thoroughly understand these aspects of the regulations and this guidance. Now, how to prepare a pre-request for the designating your device, that's called pre-RFD, which is published in 2017. This enables a sponsor to obtain a preliminary non-binding assessment of the regulatory identity or classification of a product as a drug device. So there you are defining in the regulation that you are saying that my product, if I'm applying application, I'm sending to FDA, I'm saying whether it's a drug device, biological combination product. There is a template which tells you what to put there to say that this product, your product falls under which category. It also talks about the determination of which center will regulate product if it's a non-combination product, or which will have a primary jurisdiction of the pre-market review. So this is a regulatory part. This is all legal parts of the FDA, just for your information. These are the recent developments and new guidances which are published in 2020, in April, in December, in April, and some in 2019 of December and July 2019. So I can share this information with Dr. Sailesh, and you guys can take it and look for this in detail in the public domain for your reference. Now, this is the most interesting part, is what is a combination product? I'm pretty sure you must be surprised to see something over here, like, for example, an oral suspension dropper we use at home for the oral suspension product. We use many times some otic products. There is an additional dropper, which you have to put it on the top of the bottle and then you apply. If you don't do that, you will not be able to apply the medications. So those also are the drug device combination products. An injector pen, auto-injector pen, that is a drug device combination product. And stent inside a coronary artery. You can see here how the stent is placed inside the coronary artery and to dilate the plaque so that the coronary artery gets dilated. And they are sometimes coated. They can also have a drug which can keep on continuously getting eluted to the artery when they are inside. Now, very interesting part, as I was talking in the definition, that drug device combination products of the medical devices are also used for providing structures, providing support to the body function, body structure. Here, if you see, it's called Infuse as a product. That's the brand name of the product. It is used as a bone graft component. It is placed between the two vertebral columns to minimize the gap, provide the support for this lumbar tapered fusion device. It's placed in between that. If you see here, you can see this. It's magnified here. Now, the other parts which we normally use, we know the transdermal patches, Band-Aids. Band-Aid is a transdermal patch that also falls under the drug device combination products. Intravaginal rings, which are used for the birth controls. These are all those hot melt extruded rings which are melted with the drug products, and they are inserted in the vaginal cavity to use and to release the drug through these rings, so to work as a birth control mechanism. So the drug is released through this polymeric ring. So polymeric ring is your device, and the drug is inside that. It is so the drug is not directly is not released. Neither the polymeric ring is reacting for any therapeutic efficacy. So polymeric ring is helping as a delivery mechanism for the delivery of the drug which it contains. Same here at the patches. When you use a patch, be it a hydrogel patch or be it a matrix patch, when, like for example, Band-Aid, when you adhere the Band-Aid to your wound, the Band-Aid, the adhesive itself is the device. Unless and until you adhere the device to your body part, your skin or the wound, that will not be able to release the matrix, which is at the center of the patch. It will not be released. So to release the drug, you have to adhere the patch to your body. So that is how the adherence part or the adhesive part of the patch works as the device in a drug device combination products. For example, the dental implants, they're used, you can see these plungers, they are taken inside that plunger and they are pushed inside the cavities and all as a dental implant. Okay, so these all falls under the surgical gloves. They also fall under the devices. Tampons, which are used for, during the menstrual periods, they also fall under the drug device combination products. Very interesting, right? Now, we are just talking about that these medical devices are classified into different categories based on the risk. So what are the risks and why they are classified based on what? Right? So they are categorized basically into three based on the risk, which is necessary to provide the reasonable assurance of safety and effectiveness of the devices. So in class 1, class 2, and class 3, so class 1 is the lowest risk, which is a general control. We will talk about that, what is general control, what is special control. Now the lowest risk is for the class 1. For example, examination globes, dental hand instrument, wheelchairs, pacemaker chargers, not pacemaker, the pacemaker charger. The lowest risk, as we discussed, is class 1. Moderate risk falls under the class 2, and they need the general control. So when I say general control, special control, this is saying that how you produce, you manufacture, and you sell the product. So for example, the ECG monitors, pediatric hospital bed, powered wheelchairs, powered. So you can see in the class 1, we talk about the wheelchair, just normal wheelchair. They fall under class 1, they are very lowest risk. But if you go to the class 2, the powered wheelchair, the wheelchair having a power, it's just a battery operated. If you push the button, the wheelchair moves. So this falls under the moderate category of the class 2 devices. Auto injectors, but not the part of the drug device combination product. So you will see some auto injectors which are different than the itself containing the drug device combination, like it doesn't contain the prefilled syringes. It is a separate auto injector. If you once you put the prefilled syringe inside, then it starts working as auto injector. So itself auto injector without having the prefilled syringes is a class 2 devices. Class 3 is the highest, has the highest risk based on its application, based on its complexity of the design, and they fall under the class 3. This is all I'm talking about medical device, not about drug device combination product. So this requires the general requirements and pre-market approvals. So the examples of the class 3, which are considered the highest risk or the high risk products, they call implantable insulin pump, the pacemakers, silicone gel filled breast implants. For example, we are wearing this wearable insulin pumps, which keeps on delivering the insulin based on the patient's needs. So those all are very complex designed medical devices, and they are considered as a class 3 as the highest risk medical devices. Now, we are going to look into the next part, that is the what is general control, what is special control. So general control means the establishment registration, just you have to register the establishment and you have to list your product with FDA, and you have to inform the FDA regarding the pre-market that I'm going to market these products. And you have to have a record and report of manufacturing of this product, where you manufacture, when you manufacture, all like a batch manufacturing record and all those things. And you have to prepare a report of releasing that product, that this product is tested and released. And This helps for the prohibition against misbranding and adulteration. This helps for the good manufacturing practices. And this requires repair, replacement, and refund. So this all falls under the general control for any medical devices. When you go to special controls, the special controls, they include general controls. Apart from that, you need to also implement the performance standards, which is depicted in the ISO and ASTM. These are sort of like mechanical testing requirements which are required for the devices, and some spatial labeling requirements. And you also need to have post-market surveillance. They need the patient registries. For example, if I'm giving to a patient which area this product goes, you need to have a pre-notification that this is going with a special control, it goes to the special registry. So this talks about what is general control, what is the special control, which differentiate your medical devices into 3 different categories based on its risk. Okay, so this is our product or discussion of interest, is classification of combination product. This is a little bit complex. I would request all of you to listen it very carefully, and we can discuss it later on if you have any confusion. So the classification of combination product, as we know, it's a drug and device. That's why it's called a combination product. So in case-by-case basis, this drug device combination products can be classified into 3 different types: single entity, co-packaged, and cross-labeled. Now, what is single entity? A single entity drug device, if you look at the picture, I made a single picture. That's in fact one picture. There is no division between this picture. That says it's a single entity product. 2 or more separate products packaged together in a single package or as a unit and comprised of drug and device products, device and biological products, or biological and drug products. So it's always a combination of both the things. This is only a single entity we are talking. The second category, we'll go to the examples also. The second category is co-packed. Co-packaged products are drug device. You will see a drug separate, you will see a device separate. A drug, device, or biological product packaged separately, that according to its investigational plan or proposed labeling, it will be defined in the label, which is intended for any specific use with an approved individually specified drug, device, or biological product. Like you have a pre-approved drug for this drug to be used in a pre-approved device, but they are packaged together separately in a kit. It's a kitting. It's in a one carton. You will see a drug product separately, and you will see, for example, you take an injectable, which is you take that, and you will see those some packaged. You will see that they are available with the prefilled syringes filled with WFI, water for injection. So this WFI prefilled syringe, you supply with a drug which is in the vial. That's the dry powder injection. You cannot apply the drug as such. You have to use the prefilled syringes with these WFI to inject into the vial to make soluble and the product, and then that solution can be extracted and then injected to the patient. So this is a co-packaged product. So the third one is the cross-labeled product. It's a cross-labeled between drug and device. So it's called any investigational drug, device, or biological product, which is packaged separately. So for example, I do not know whether you have seen called intravaginal rings. So the intravaginal rings are manufactured separately. They're given separately. But the applicators are also produced and manufactured and sent separately. So they are cross-labeled. In the patient information leaflet, both the applicator as well as the device, they are placed separately and they're cross-labeled. To apply the device, you need to use the applicator. That is how they're cross-labeled. They fall under the drug device combination product. These single entity, as we're discussing, it's, for example, it's a monoclonal antibody combined with a therapy. A device coated or impregnated with a drug or a biologic, for example, drug-eluting stents, placing leads with steroid-coated tips, catheters with coating, and condoms with spermicides. They're all a single entity drug device combination product. Prefilled syringes, insulin injector pens, metered dose inhalers, transdermal patches, they all fall under the single entity drug device combination product. When we talk about the co-packaged, where you have a drug and device separately packaged in a container, that's called drug or biological product packaged with a delivery device. For example, surgical trays with surgical instruments, reps, and lidocaine alcohol swabs. So The lidocaine alcohol swabs, I don't know if you have seen, they are the swabs. They are just cotton swabs, but the cotton swabs cannot be used unless and until the lidocaine alcohol is impregnated with that. So that's why it's called lidocaine alcohol swabs, which is used in various types of surgical operations. Cross labels. So this is very interesting. I'm sure all of you guys are aware of very high-tech information, high-tech technologies we're using, like iontophoresis and all those theories you have read. So something is called photosensitizing drug and activating laser light source. So the drug is it's manufactured separately. It's a photosensitizing drug, and then you have to provide also a light source. Now, the way it works is once you use the laser source or the light source on the photosensitizing drug part, then only the drug will work. For example, you apply the drug to your face, and then or the affected area, and then you use a light on those drug part which you have applied. Then only the drug will be activated and will start working, showing its therapeutic efficacy. It's a photosensitizing drugs. For example, Porphyrimid's sodium is called photophrines. It is very widely used photosensitizer. It's mainly used in case of cancer patients. It's activated by red light from a laser. It's approved by the FDA to treat patients with certain kinds of cancers of the esophagus and the lungs. So very, very complex drug device combination product. And similarly, the iontophoretic drug delivery patch and the controller. So the patch is an iontophoretic drug, but you also have a separate controller. Unless and until you switch, if you switch on, then only this iontophoresis starts. Then only the drug will start delivering its activity. So one thing we here, I just listed that which I need to be very clear to tell the people which are now in the student stage, that what is, we are studying in pharmaceutics, we are talking about the formulations. So a drug product having a different constituents, so we call it, say, it's a constituent. So don't get confused between the component or the constituent part. In device world or drug device combination part of the world, we call it the constituent part versus the component. The term constituent part is used by the FDA as a succinct way to identify a drug, device, or biological product, including a combination product. For example, the adhesive part is a constituent part in a transdermal product. Under the drug CGMPs, component is defined as any ingredient intended for use in the manufacture of a drug product, including those that may not appear in the such drug product. Like, for example, the excipients, the diluents, all those vehicles and all those things. They are the component of a drug product. So that is what you need to be careful about when you are discussing about a constituent part of a device or a drug device combination product versus a component in a drug product. So how the drug CGMPs and the combination product GMPs are different. Now, we are entering into the quality system regulations for the drug device combination product. The QSR requirements, the quality system regulation requirements for combination products are mainly defined in 21 CFR Part 4. This 21 CFR Part 4 is divided into majorly into two sections. In internet, it is available. You can easily see 21 CFR Part 4. If you type, you will see those things in the Google. So it has subpart A and subpart B. Subpart A talks about the current good manufacturing practice requirements for combination products. It tells what you have to adopt, which methodology you have to adopt if you are manufacturing a drug and device combination product. Subpart B talks about the post-marketing safety reporting for combination product. For example, you know that when you use for example, this very widely now it was chloroquine phosphate, right? It was used a lot in pandemic. Any product you market, it's in the market. Once it's in the market, you have to collect the post-market information like the adverse events, the patients are reporting, all those information has to be collected, reported to the agency. Agency means the drug agency in different countries, the regulatory agencies. So this post-market safety reporting for combination products, how the patient, the consumer is getting impacted by this drug device combination product already in the market, or it is sold in the market, you have to collect the post-marketing information. There is a process, there is a data, there is a template, in which form, in which frequency you have to collect and inform to the FDA or the regulatory authority in the respective countries. So that is defined in the subpart B. Now, in the subpart A of 21 CFR Part 4, it tells us what are the elements of device QSR requirements. Now, we know that it's a combination of two. One is drug, another is device. So we need to understand two things, two type of controls we are following when I'm using a drug device combination product. One is the device requirement, one is the drug requirement. So when you are following that, so we will go to the next slide, you will see that the regulation tells us you have the they have given us the authority to take decisions or to decide whether you use what approach. It's called either streamline approach or general approach. So if it's a streamline approach, what it is, if it's a general approach, what it is, we will read and we'll talk next. But it says that if you have to follow the device quality system requirements, so what are those elements of the quality system requirements which you need to follow in combination product? If it's a combination product, you need to follow this 820-20, 820-30, 820-50, 820-100, 170, and 200. These three, the six elements of this QSR are mandatory for any organization. They are manufacturing this product. So if you are going for interview for any organization, thinking of applying to any industry, manufacturing devices and all, you must know these things. You definitely need to read these things. Okay, so you need to understand what part of the device is required to be followed when I am working with a drug device combination product, because this is the device part which needs to be followed. Other part of the drug product, that is 210 and 211 of the 21 CFR. Okay, so these elements of this quality system requirements for the device, which is defined for the combination product, is 820-20, that's called management responsibility. The 820-30 is the design controls, is the most important part. 820-50 is the purchasing controls. 820-100 is the CAPA, corrective and preventive action. 820-170 is the installation control, that's for the equipments and the device and the instruments. And 820-200 is the servicing of those instruments and equipments. So this is all talks about the calibrations and all those things, qualifications and all. Now, as we were just discussing that how it is defined into different way, you have option 1, you have option 2. So the combination product CGMP companion guidance very clearly gives the sponsors to adopt any of these options. You decide which options you want to adopt. So you have to define in your process that I, as a company, trying to use this methodology, option 1 or option 2 for my product which I manufacture. Now, you can demonstrate the compliance with the entire regulations for each constituent part. You have a drug part, you have a combination, you have a device part. So for each constituent part, you can say that I will follow all regulations. And for the drug product, I will follow all regulations. That's why if you see here, for the drug, it's 21 CFR 210-11. For a device, you follow 21 CFR part 820. So part 820 has many more other requirements, which is not I listed in the previous slide. Those 6 elements are just 6 out of it. There are so many others. Now, if it is a biologic and human cell tissue product, then you have to go through the 21 CFR part 600, 680 and part 1271. Now, this is as an option 1, which you are following entire regulations. If you go for option 2, which is called streamlined approach, most of the industries is not going with this. Most of the pharmaceutical industries who are manufacturing drug device combination products, including where I am working now or I was working, we follow this option called streamlined approach, where you have to demonstrate compliance with either the entire drug or biologic CGMP or the entire quality system regulations, as well as specific sections of the regulations applicable to the other constituent parts. So this is a bit confusing sometimes, which you need to understand that either you fully implement drug CGMPs plus 21 CFR elements, which are uniquely interpreted in the device quality systems, or you fully implement the device QSRs. You can see that how it is just reversed. You fully implement device QSRs or 21 CFR like 210 and 211, which are uniquely interpreted in drug CGMP. So you can follow both of this. If the combination product includes a biologic product, then the requirement will be for the biologics instead of the drugs. So that is how industry is following. Mostly in my knowledge, all the industries are following option 2 approach, the system-aligned approach. Okay, so what are the quality systems which are followed as per the part of regulations? The number 1 or the center part is the management responsibilities of management control. Then comes the design control. Then comes the corrective and preventive actions we read about CAPA, production and process controls, equipment and facility controls, records, documents and change controls, material controls. This all are called as 7 subsystems of quality system, which is defined by the CDRs, Center for Devices and Radiological Health. So this is a definition. So there's two different divisions of FDA, distinct divisions. One is called CDRH and one is called CDER, Center of Drug Evaluation and Research, that's called CDER, that only focuses mainly on drug products, drug substance and all those things. CDRH mainly focuses on the devices and radiological product. That's sort of the most difference between the CDER and CDRH. So we saw at the center point was management. So it says in the preamble page of the drug device combination product regulations, it says, it is without question management's responsibility to undertake appropriate actions to ensure that employees understand management's policies and objectives. So I am talking to you all about this industry processes or practices, so that when you come to industry, you need to be aware of that, what things I should know if I'm working in a pharmaceutical industry, in a drug device combination product industry. What compliance things I need to know, what I need to follow if I'm getting into that industry. That is why I'm trying to discuss all these things with you guys. Now, management responsibility talks about the purpose. The purpose of this regulation or the specific part of the control USR is to provide adequate resources. So management need to provide adequate resources to ensure that the establishment and effective functioning of the quality system which is made within the organization is effectively done. So what we do usually as part of the management responsibility, we have every company has a procedure wherein there will be a periodic discussion within the quality council, which is constitutes of the different functions, head of the quality department of the different plants, different units, including the corporate, and they meet periodically as per the company. Some have there is a annually, some of there is a biannually, some of there is a quarterly, wherein the quality informations were appeals to the management that this is happening in the organization. And if something is really, we need the help of the management, they will tell us manpower requirement, infrastructure requirement, money, whatever it is, you talk it there. Unresolved issues, you have to talk it there. Then the management has to take care of how they're going to address this. So this management is also responsible for establishing a quality policy, the objectives of the organization, of the quality objectives, and the organizational structure. It should establish an appropriate responsibility and authority of all the functions are functioning within that organization, appoint a management representative and conduct management reviews. That's called management reviews. And for your information, when FDA comes for audit, they ask always for the management review meetings. What you do in the meeting, what you've discussed, what are your minutes of meeting, because they want to understand that your top management acknowledges the issues and they helps out. Establish a quality plan and quality system procedure. You need to have a quality plan, how you are going to manufacture, test, and release your product in that facility. And what are your quality systems governing the different quality of the different functions, elements of the quality of the product. Provide adequate resources and have sufficient personnel with the necessary education, background, training, and experience. Design control, this is the most important thing, which is actually the center part of the drug device combination product regulations, which talks about the requirements, what you are going to do when you are developing a drug device combination product. So from the life cycle point of view, how you will start, where you will start, and what information you need to gather to manufacture, develop, manufacture, and send that product to the market with high quality requirements. So it says that you have to establish a plan that describes the reference design and development activities. How you will design, what type of design. Suppose, for example, let's say it's a pre-filled syringe, right? So what should be the size of the syringe? What should be the size of the needle? What is the gauge of the needle? How it will be installed? Is there a safety requirement? Do you have to safety notch at the point of the needle? Because a pre-filled syringe. So how much is the marks? What will be the calibrations on the syringes? What will the plunger force required to push the medication through the needles? How big, how long the plunger will be? So all these are the design parts, and that you have to define that where you're going to use this pre-filled syringes. That comes as your design inputs. This is to be used, for example, in combination of a drug product wherein the syringe has to contain a pre-filled with the WFI. Those things come the inputs. And when you get the inputs, you then design your design output. That's called the product specification. So the dimensions, the pictures, the layouts, the designs, all are part of the design output. They are all different terminologies used in this design control. Then you have to verify those designs outputs that it is meeting the design input. Once you do that, then you validate your design. Whatever you have designed, you have to validate that, including the softwares. You perform risk assessments and you validate the design is performing or the design is well suited for the specific need which I have designed this. For example, you are using an auto injector. You need to validate the design of this auto injector that it is auto injecting the prefilled syringes or the drug inside it without having any difficulties to the patient. It's ease of the patient. For example, if you are, I'll give you a simple example. You must be aware of those, for example, this analgesic creams, ointments, right? This diclofenac ointment, which we apply on pain when you get a muscular pain on the joints on the skin. Excuse me. So we have to squeeze the tube to, it's not a combination product, but I'm just explaining how the user needs are. You have to squeeze the tube to get the cream or ointment out of the tube to apply it on the applicable where we want to apply. Now, imagine an elderly patient having arthritis in its hand or finger, all those areas, right? How difficult for that patient to squeeze that tube if the tube is made up of aluminum. It's a metallic tube. It's very difficult for a patient, arthritic patient, to squeeze it. So you need to understand, if I'm designing a product, how it is going to suit the need of my patient. Always keep the patient in your mind as a target. How the patient will be. It's an older patient, it is to be used for a younger patient. It is going to be used for a patient on the bed on the ICU. So you have to design your product in a way that it should suit the need of the patient. Just an example. So, and you have to validate that design. We will talk about that, how the human factor study happens. Review the design results, how the design is coming into after the risk assessment and all. You have to also control the designs. For example, you have prepared a product and then we have seen that during the risk assessment, something I have to change. You have to take a change control to do that change. And then you have to again see that how these changes are implemented or affecting my product or my device. And transfer that design. Once you have a device in your hand, you know my device is designed, then you have to transfer the product to the production area for manufacturing. And when you have a product ready, you have to validate that product, that process. And when all these things are in place, you have to make a design history file. So this is called design history file. How the product is designed, all history, that is design development plan, the risk assessments, the design input details, the design output details, the change controls, the change evaluations, your validations of the design, your threshold analysis, everything goes into a full dossier that's called design history file. I know people are getting bored, but I have to talk. So this is how the application of design control plays an important role in the R&D. If you guys are interested in research and development, you need to know these things, how the research and development, in case of research and development of a combination product or a device, how it works. So you have to first conceptualize the product. You have to see the feasibility of this concept, what you are designing is going to work, that you have to do research. And also you have to see the reviews, that whether the product which you are thinking about to design, how it is going to work. You have to do brainstorming there to find out. Then you have to make a plan. When you make a plan, you have to think about the design inputs, and you have to see that these design inputs are resulted in design outputs. And then you have to verify those design of the product. Any change happens, again you review, you change your requirements, you see that whether it is changing your design outputs or not. Now, when you come to the development part, once you complete this research work and your device is ready, then you are transferring it for the validation or the manufacturing. That part comes under the development. But if you look, the part which is covering both the sigmas is the review of the device, the planning to design a product, the design inputs, the design outputs, verification of those inputs and outputs, and any change. This all happens in both the phases, in research phase as well as the development phase. This is the most important thing which anybody need to know, that how a product life cycle of a device happens. We will have first the user needs. Based on the user needs, I will design the product with keep in the mind the design inputs, that is the requirements of this specific device. Now, what is user need? For example, I'm thinking of developing for example, a sumatriptan auto injector, right? So it's a sumatriptan which is inside pre-filled in an auto injector. Now, sumatriptan is used for migraine. So I'm going with my patient, targeted patient is migraine patients, right? So if I'm going to use it for the migraine patients, what happens in case of migration? When somebody has a migraine, is really having migraine, then they are not in a condition to do anything. They become really having so much of pain. So they have to immediately use it. So how you'll do immediate use? You have to identify a place where they can immediately inject it. So how the auto injector works, based on that, you have to see how depth the needle, how the gauge of the needle should be so that it will not give any pain. Because migraine is such a thing. In the US, I have seen several population, and the big population of US is affected or with this with the migraine issue because of so many reasons. So they need always, they carry this auto injector in their purse, in their bags, wherever they travel or wherever they come to office also. So this is suddenly they start getting pain, and then they have to immediately inject. So you have to understand the user needs. What is the need of this injector? Where it's going to be used, and then you design that as a part of where you're writing a design development process or design development plan. Once you design, you verify the design. That you have a prototype. You need to see that is this device is designing or getting designed as per the patient requirements. Is it going to be easily used by the patient? The patient will have ease of using this device. Those things you have to do the design verification process. Once you are ready, then you can transfer the design to the medical, to the manufacturer. Now, let me tell you how it is similar to the drug product. You develop a tablet or a capsule or a drug product in a laboratory, in an R&D. You have a pre-formulation studies, you have your all these scale-up studies, and then you come up with a drug product. That this my drug product is ready with a formulation. Once the formulation is ready and you did a scale-up, you know your equipments and your process parameters and critical quality attributes, you are transferring that technology. It's called tech transfer to the manufacturing site for manufacture of the product at a commercial scale. And then you validate. It's called process performance qualification, PPQ. So those things happen in a drug product industry. Now, when you are in a device industry or a drug device combination product industry, there once we transfer the design, they call it design of the product, then the medical device or the drug device combination product is manufactured or designed on the floor, on the manufacturing area. In all these stages, in design input, design output, design transfer, all these subsequent stages of the life cycle of a device, there's a continuous review happens by the subject matter experts. Different areas, different people come together and give their opinions, give their comments, and the design review happens to give a robust product. Then you have to do the design validation, which is entirely different than our concept of product validation. So design validation talks about how the product will be easily used or suitable for a patient's use. It is not like we do 3 batches process performance qualification in a typical drug product industry. This talks only about the usability factors, the user's needs, the user requirements. They are validated through the design validation. So we talk about this design and development plan. You have to maintain a plan that describes the design and development activities and who is responsible for designing the product. You have to describe the interface of activities, review update as the design proceeds. As we discussed, design input is the physical and performance requirements of a device, which are used as a basis of device design. This is very important. Even if you are a BPharm or MPharm student, if you want to do a project on this type of products, you need to understand what you think about the design output, what you'll write as the design input. Those things you need to incorporate in a project. Ensure the requirements are appropriate and address intended use of a device and the need of the user. Then document, review, and approve the design inputs. When you have a design input, you have to see that it is resulting in a design output so that it gives you specification for the specific product. It consists of the device, its packaging and labeling, and the device master record. So ensure an adequate evaluation of the conformance to the design input requirements. So for example, you are designing an auto injector. So it should, the moment you press it against the skin, it should automatically, the needle should be released, deliver the product, and then retract. That should be your design input requirements. Now for that, your design output will be the gauge of the needle, the size of the needle, the transition period or the penetration time, the transition time of the needle to your skin, the depth of penetration, the plunger force which gets automatically activated. Those becomes part of your design output. Okay. Then you document all these things and approve the design output. Now, design input, output, user needs, and what is design output? So this design input requires minimum maximum dose delivery of the drug viscosity, and desired requirement of the delivery rate, as we have just discussed, right? So the drawing specification, syringe dimensions for the syringes, the needle bore, gliding force for the plungers, content and reading level of the prefilled syringes labeling, packaging labeling specification for the prefilled syringes, specification for drug contracting syringe metal. This all falls under the design output requirement. We just discussed about that. I just gave a brief in a table of comparison. The design reviews. If you remember the 4 slides before, we have given that pictorial diagram how the design review needs to happen in every stage. Ensure that formal documented review of the design results are planned and conducted with the purpose, who are the participant, or how much time we did, and what documented. Design verifications. These are the product specifications being made, and can I prove it? Verify this, and then you confirm it. Did you make what you said you would make? Ask these questions and document it. Ensure that design output meets design input requirements. Results should be documented in the design file. This terminology I'm using or talking maybe giving you a boring continuous utterance of the repetitive words, but these are really important things if you work in this area need to know. Very technical things. Design validation, we talk about it. If the product meeting user needs and intended uses for all specifications, how can I prove it? So you have to execute a trial. For example, you must have heard about the child resistant caps, CRC, we call it child resistant cap. So child resistant caps are intended that the child should not be able to open. Do you know how it gets tested? They call, say, 2025, the designer protocol, when they will gather 2025 students, the kids, the child, the level of as per the age, and they will give those bottles to them to open it. Whether they'll be able to open or not. If there's a percentage, if this much percent is able to open the bottle, so the cap, then it's not a CRC. If they're able to open, not able to open, then it's a CRC. So that's how it's a user evaluation. It was done for this specific type of design. Same thing happens in the drug device combination products or devices. Now, this is a very important part which, as a student, you must know, because many of you will be entering into the research and development segment once you finish your graduation or post-graduation or your postdocs or doctoral degree. There you need to know how this research happens. This is the most critical part of designing of a device or a drug device combination product. If you look at the diagram, you will see that the devices are always patient-centric development process. Always. Look at the cycle. It says that you first need to know that define the design, how the product should be. You define, then design it. Once you design, then you should have a prototype or 3D printing, soft and hard stick models. You get it ready. Once you have that, then do the verification. We just talk about the design verification. You verify with a bench testing, a mechanical stability, the drug device interactions. Once you confirm all those things, then you go for the user or the patient testing. The usability of the specific product, usability of the devices, which is also called as the human factor studies. How this product is going to work in the humans, rather than how the product will be used by the humans so that they can get the impact of the product. So in the early design phase, you will have the user feedback from the users and the patients. Okay. Then based on those feedbacks from the patients, there is a segment which works. Then you will start designing and with the 3D printing and all. Then you'll have the different type of mold you design. And this is the development part. And then at that point of time, what you do when you have a basic designing, you will have to perform a study that's called formative study, that's called HF study, human factor formative study. I don't want to talk to you about that very detail. This type of study, like formative study, and then when you develop and come to a final design of a device, you have to conduct a summative human factor study. So this formative human factor study, summative human factor study, these things are required mainly from INDs or ANDAs. If it's a new product, it's a new device, newly designed, there's no predicate device available in the market, it's not a generic, then you have to follow this process. So once you have an early design phase, then it gets into development phase, wherein you have this conducting all these human factor studies, formative and summative studies, and then which is providing to support your user and patient needs. Once you have all those things, you will freeze your design. Yes, my design meets the user and patient's need. My human factor study is done. Then I'm going to freeze the design. Then I will go for industrialization. When you say industrialization means I will transfer the design for the manufacturing. Then it will be ready for commercial. So this is how a typical device or a drug device combination product life cycle starts at the R&D stage and goes to the commercial stage. I think this will give you a very good picture if you are thinking or visualizing how a device or drug device combination product is designed and developed. Some of the key guidance for human factor studies, I'm not going to read this. This is one for Europe, one for US. How it happens, you need to get into Google. You have to do this research. Human factor studies for INDs and NDAs, as I discussed, formative visibility study and summative visibility testing. So formative visibility, nothing but it identifies strengths and weakness. How can it be made better? It should be conducted while device is still under development. This is the key information you need to know. Formative study is always done when the device is still under development. It's an iterative process. You saw in the picture, if you go back to the previous one, you will see that it is saying that the user and patient needs, you're getting user feedback here. It's going back and forth. That is why it's a reiterated process. You keep on changing this. It's an initial stage. Once you keep on those, you come to a form design sort of thing. A prototype is ready. Then you perform a summative visibility testing. That's called final product testing. Tested by representatives under the realistic conditions. The real users will be doing it under the realistic conditions. You develop a mitigation strategy for failures or problems that arise. If it is there, if you see, then you have to modify the design interface, how this product is going to fail. If you're going to fail, what should be my strategy to prevent the failure? Then retest to show that your strategy is working. So this is one test or the process which you follow. You guys will be always coming across this because we are more into the generic industry. So the human factor studies, which is done for the ANDAs, is called abbreviated new drug applications for generic products. They're called a threshold analysis. So the threshold analysis is nothing, but you just have to compare your product, which is already available in the market, and the product you have designed. Just have to sidewise comparison you do from the labeling, from the product, from the design, from the dimension, and you say that everything is same. That's called the threshold analysis. Then you can say that my product is good for use in the market and well comparable with the brand available in the market or the RLD. Once you do, then you transfer the design to the manufacturing area and complete the manufacturing process. Then we discussed the process validation. You complete the transfer, then you do the validation of the process. In between, if there is any change happens, then you have to perform identify the change, document it, verify, validate it, review and approve it. Very important in device industry is the change control. Any change happens, it needs to be again reviewed and re-reviewed and then reconfirmed. So this is one critical document which is used as a part of the device industry that is called design history file, which records, demonstrate that this is called the Bible of a device. You can say everything of it. It's a dossier, it's just like a dossier. So it contains everything from the beginning of the device till it is in the market and in the dynamic document. It keeps on changing. Whenever you have to change, everything gets added to it. Once you have completed the design control, now we are entering into the purchase control. Purchase control is nothing but the suppliers of your components, suppliers of your products, how they're controlled, what process you follow to put them under control. If they do any change, they need to tell you. If you see any issue on the component of the supply, you need to inform them. So these all are proceduralized and you need to have a system in place. And the system which is followed is called SCR. It's called Supplier Corrective and Action Report. That means If you see any issue on the product, on the components, on your manufacturing, during manufacturing, or inform the supplier have to take corrective action and let you know. That's called supplier corrective action. Then production and process control, manufacturing of devices meet specified requirements. There will be environment control to produce the need for the devices. The personnel should be trained. They should be aware of manufacturing process. You should have a process to control the contaminations to the drug product as well as the devices. Your building and equipment must be in a way that they should provide all the required supports for the manufacturing the product. There should be manufacturing material available, which should be controlled through a purchase control process. If you follow automated process, then you need to have a qualified equipment which are used for the part of the automations, including the softwares. CAPA. Industry, this is the buzzword. Anywhere you go, they all talk about the CAPA. I'll tell you some interesting things. Now, industry is not following CAPA. They are following something part of excellence is called PACA, PA and CA. We all know about CAPA, corrective and preventive action. So what is PACA? PACA means it's a preventative and creative action. Creatively, and take a proactive action. It's a proactive action which was designed to prevent any recurrence. So that's something different now, which everybody is following in the industry. So corrective and preventive actions. So just I defined it here that healthy CAPA procedures should include provisions to identify and correct existing non-conforming product or other qualities problems. That's called correction. Identify and eliminate the cause of existing non-conforming product or other quality problem. That's called corrective action. Now identify and eliminate the cause of potential non-conforming product. That means it will not be happening in the future. Not only for this product, all other products, not only for this system, all the systems. That is called preventive action. You are preventing the occurrence to happen. So this is another important thing I thought of talking to you guys is product risk management. If you go to industry, this is something which anybody should know what is called product risk management. Anywhere you study, you read, you do research, you do in industry, you need to know the risk. What is the risk there, right? So the picture says, if you look at this, that's you know the creature, it's a shark. So the hazard here is a shark, right? Hazardous situation is what? When somebody is approaching, a swimmer is approaching to the hazard. So this is a hazardous situation without knowing or knowing that this person is approaching, maybe without knowing. Now, what is the harm by this hazard, which is created by the hazardous situation? The harm is the bites, the injury of the shark by the shark on the feet of the swimmer. So this is the harm. So just to give an example that what is hazard, what is hazardous situation, and what is harm. So risk management is the process of identifying the hazards, evaluating the associated risk, mitigating or controlling the risks, and monitoring the effectiveness of the controls which you put in place to control the risk. Various types of risk assessment tools are used in the industry. They are called failure mode and effects analysis. It's called FMEA. So the FMEA is in the med device or the drug device combination world are used very widely, and various types of FMEAs are there. Like it's called user FMEA, which you do for the user. You do design FMEA for the design of the device, and you also perform the process FMEA that's called the PFMEA. So user risk assessment is called user FMEA. The design risk assessment is called design FMEA, and the process FMEA, process risk assessment called the PFMEA. This all falls under the category of risk management, which is a critical part of the design control. So what are the combination product quality risks? For example, a transdermal patch adhesion is not robust. Only lasts for a few hours instead of days. Drug is releasing adequate amount. That's a question mark. Because if, for example, a transdermal patch is need to be on the body, on the skin of a person for 5 days. For example, this birth control, the progesterone or these progesterone patches, they need to be for 5 days or 7 days on the body. Now, if you're on the skin, if it doesn't adhere to the 5 days, then it will not be able to release the product. So these are the quality risks. So here, risk is the adhesion is not robust. So you need to identify why the adhesion is not robust. What are the possibilities? So drew up 2.5 mg and nearly administered to the patient. What is happening here? Here, the device constituent part need to be properly understood by the user. So the user, or who the mediator to give to the patient, is not understanding how to use. What is the calibration mark she or he has to do? So this is a user issue. Caregivers could not assemble dosing kit and draw out the correct dose. Very simple. These are the nurse or anybody who are the caregivers, the way they should assemble the kit, and then the dose, they are not able to do. These are all the user risks you need to identify and mitigate. Prefilled syringes. Upon lifting device away from patient's skin, the needle was still exposed, which is supposed to be retracted. So it's the prefilled syringes or the auto injectors. If it did not retract into the device, then it is a design issue. So you need to understand what is the risk, how it is to be mitigated. Some of the examples I thought of sharing with you guys. So I hope this is giving you some brief idea, although I spoke a lot, but continuously. But I think I could able to give you within a very short time a lot of information. Definitely a lot of information in a very short time. Sometimes it is indigestible, a lot of times it happens. So at your level of understanding as a student, it might be a little bit more. But I thought at this point of time, if you get at least 5% of it into your mind, if you try to utilize 5% of it, you will get 10% result of it. That is definitely my guarantee. So you need to read and understand those things. You can get this thing from internet, is public domain available. You can read and understand. And my information, my email ID, everything is available with Dr. Sailesh. Any point of time, feel free to reach out to me for any questions on this type of information. Now, this is my favorite slide. I always say that the journey continues. Never ever it stops. The enthusiasm to learn never stops. If you see the picture on the right side, the archers, they keep on learning. Every time they learn, they become perfect. Every time the bullseye hit, they become perfect. But there is no end to the learning process. So my intent of telling you is, there is no end to your learning, my friends. Keep learning, keep updating yourself. The journey never stops. I'll tell an example of a site in India, a company called Zydus Cadila. I was there for some work, and I was visiting the R&D, and I saw the R&D was, if you look from outside, it's got bricks. Just like a bricks, there is no plaster on the outside. So I asked the head of the organization, why it is still plastering is going on? You have not, there is some civil work is to be done. I said, no, this is an R&D. The research and development, it never stops. It's always unfinished thing. So it means the knowledge is never completed. There is no end to acquiring knowledge. So keep acquiring knowledge, keep fortifying yourself, and then, boost yourself with the knowledge and the wisdom. So that is my sincere wish, my request, and my best wishes to all of you for your future career. Now I will stop here, and I will leave it to the moderator for any questions. Thank you so much for so patiently listening to me on this morning time.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. You're
Now,
most welcome.
I think we should move for a question answer session.
Okay,
Sure.
sir.
5
Yes,
or 10
sir.
minutes.
Definitely.
I'm here.
Yes, sir. It was a very enlightening, motivating, interesting, and knowledgeable presentation given by our today's speaker. Now we move ahead with the question answer session. Anyone from the staff and students, come forward with your questions.
We can check the chat box.
Okay.
I think Anju is having some question. Anju, you can ask directly.
Good morning, sir. A very nice session. Thank you, sir, for sharing such useful information with us. So my question is that in spite of practicing all the GMP guidelines, if any error occurs or if any adverse situation occurs while formulating the drug device equipments, where should we can report these all things?
So there are two aspects. Very good question, and I'm really thankful to you for asking this question. There are two things happens. So when I'm designing a device, if something happens, it's a design stage. So I have an opportunity to improvise that with my risk assessment. But once your design is freezed and you put it in the market. If something happens, there's a procedure which gets, suppose somebody reports you, like you saw on the last slide, that the auto injector is not retracting its needle. It's a failure of the device, right? So it tells you that the device is somewhere some issue in the design of the product. So they are recorded under that's something called MDR, medical device report. So it comes back to the organization who are manufacturing. They review, they investigate the concern, the issues, and there is a procedure where you have to inform the FDA that we have received this information and we're investigating. So we have to find out the root cause why it has happened. It's a design issue. So you have to perform a design review to see that is there any flaw. For example, in this type of auto injectors, if the needle is not getting retracted, there are various reasons. There are various types. The auto injectors have different components within the device itself. The bulbs which are used to retract once the drug is injected to the body of the patient. So there might be some malfunctioning of the needle, malfunctioning of the springs which are inside the device. They all needs to be reviewed and understood. But yes, the thing is that there's always a procedure, always a process, always a need to improve. If you see such things, you need to write down that these are observations I want to improve. But when you do that change, you have to inform to FDA that I have done this change. And you need to ensure that how you are going far from the reported information to FDA. For example, you have already filed a product with such informations. Now, if you are changing, how much you are going different so that it will not impact the final result to the patient. You have to inform and conform and justify to the FDA. Then only you will be able to do that change and put the market back. Did I answer the question?
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
I'm pretty sure that this is very highly technical information and it's very difficult to digest. So for students to digest and questions is not so easy. I fully know this. But anyway, I'm open for any questions. But anybody can ask any question. Don't think that you're asking questions silly or stupid question. There is no silly stupid question.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Hi, good morning.
My name is Kalas Khan. I am the pharma second semester student. My question is, mobile app used to measure blood glucose level for monitoring diabetes is actual reading or not?
Can you just repeat the mobile phone used for the measurement of the blood sugar level?
Yes, sir.
That's a mobile app, right?
Yes, sir.
So this is also falls under the device. It's a software which is measuring the blood sugar level concentration in your blood. Now, how I say it is right or wrong, it only can be confirmed when you see the design of the process, how the software is designed, how the parameters, different input and output requirements are considered. At your level, at a user level, you may not be able to confirm that this is right or wrong. But to my knowledge, if any device goes to the market, definitely it is tested because they're all released by the drug regulatory authorities.
Okay, thank you.
You can trust. You can trust. Yeah, you can ask any other question other than this topic. If you have any question about the industry, you want to ask any question about your future, what you should do, what you should not do, please feel free to ask.
You can also ask how to reach US.
Yeah, that would be the most exciting and best questions for our upcoming students. Please ask the way to go to US from sir.
Hello, good morning, sir. Good morning, all of you.
Good morning.
Sir, it was really a very nice and informative session. Sir, my question is, in one of the slides you have mentioned is needle or needleless product. So whether it can be formulated in NDDS only, or we can formulate in other doses form, just like a dispersible tablet or sublingual or any other kind of device or vice versa.
So the basic difference between the tablets or the drug products and the devices is device or a drug device combination products need to be a medium, like there should be a device mode to deliver the product. So it can be, it may be with needles, it can be needleless. For example, it's an antiphoretic or say a transdermal patch, it's a needleless product, right?
Yes.
You can also use product, for example, there is a, what do you call, this photosensitizing products. They are all needleless product. right?
Okay.
So you can have NDDS, new drug develop. You can design any iontophoretic products. You can design any photosensitizing product. It falls under the drug base, because without having a light source, your drug will not be photosensitized, so it will not have a therapeutic effect. So you can think of any such type of novel ideas. There are many things coming up. If anybody is interested, maybe I will link with Dr. Sailesh to share some advancements happening in this device or drug device combination products in the industry, which will help you out in the research. So I can help you on those areas. Definitely, I can help you on those areas. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Please feel free to connect. No issues.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Anybody wants to come to US?
Good morning, sir. Sir, I just want to come US after BCom.
You're most welcome to come to US. Now, why you want to come to US?
Sir, I just want to join pharmaceutical in US.
Okay. Definitely you can come and join pharmaceutical in US. To come to US, there are a couple of administrative procedures. So when you have to come to US to work in the US, you need to have a work permit. Okay. So the work permit is different type of work permit. One is called H1 visa. That's a employer independent visa. Another one is L1 visa. Now, when you work in India in a company, and they have another division in the US. So they can transfer you from India to US as an intercompany transfer. That's called an L1 visa. So where you can come and work in US only in that company. You cannot change your company. Now consider about the software companies. The company appoint you from India and bring to US. And then you can on H1 visa, wherein you can work here as an with a work permit. But every visa, H1 has a specific validity. You cannot work more than that. Now, if you want to continue work here, you have to apply for something called permanent residency. That's called green card process. When you get the green card, then you can permanently stay here. Nobody can expel you out of the country. Now, a student can come to US with a student visa. You complete your GRE and TOEFL, apply to the various universities for your master courses with governments conforming to the requirements. You can come on student visa. When you come on student visa, you complete your master's or postdoc or doctoral studies. While you do that, you can then become this kind of OPT, where you join an organization as an intern. And from there, you can transfer your visa to H1 or the employer visa, where you can transfer, you can become part of an organization. But to come here, you can come as a student visa, getting into any master course, or somebody has to transfer you from India to here, which is a definite to perform in an organization and come to a level where the organization feels that yes, this guy is capable of coming to US and contributing to the organization. You have to perform and exhibit that I can perform this. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
I think Alka is willing to ask some question. Alka,
Please.
Sir, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, how can we develop safe and effective medicine?
How you develop safe and effective medicine. Okay. So the most important thing, you have to first think about the safety. Patient is most important. So when you develop a medicine, be it a drug product, drug substance, or a medical device, you first need to understand that what is the intended use of this specific product which you're going to develop. Now, how it is safe? Think about a drug product which you're designing, for example, a tablet formulation. Okay. If you are intending a tablet formulation, let's take a good example of a say sub-gelatin capsule, right? You have seen the sub-gelatin capsules which are available in the market of 1 gram, 1.5 gram strength, right? So
Yes, sir.
these capsules are bigger size, 0, 00, big sizes, right?
Yes,
Now
sir. Triple
you are
zero.
designing yes, right? When you design that type of formulation, you are, if you intend that product for a pediatric patient, will it be safe? Can a kid swallow that type of big sub-gelatin capsule?
No,
No,
sir.
right? That is why the type of product depends on the categorization of the population of the patient. If it's a pediatric population, your drug or the product formulation must be designed that patient population can easily take it. If you are giving to a, for example, somebody is having arthritis, if you have asked somebody to put a pressure on a, for example, an EpiPen or a auto injector to push on against your body to get the drug release, how can an arthritic patient do that? So safe means, first of all, it should be user friendly. Second is, when you use, after your use, it should not have any, it should not be used by anybody else. For example, when you use an auto injector, the auto injector should have a safety catch. Once you inject, it automatically retracts back. If you push it back, the needle gets bent. So it will never come out. You will never get injured by the needle. So that is one safety aspect of a device. Now, how it is efficacious, that completely depends on your design. How you are designing, you have to understand the process parameters, the quality, critical quality attributes of the product, as well as the materials which you're using. What are the critical material attributes so that you can get an efficacious product? So that's what you have to understand first. So three things. One is the critical quality attribute. You first need to know the critical quality attribute of the product, what the quality you need. Then comes to get the critical quality attribute, what type of material you need. So you know your critical material attribute, what type of excipients. It's what type of forms. It's a crystalline form, it's amorphous form, what type of form you need. Then third comes the critical process parameters, it's called CPPs. If I have the right material, if I have the right quality to be produced, how this product can be manufactured in equipment, what process I should follow, how much of mixing I do. So they're all the reiterated process. You have to do a hit and trial and then get a prototype design. Then you have to conduct a stability study to see that your product is stable. If your product is stable, then you have to perform something which is called human study. For a drug product, what we call it is called bioequivalence study. You are going to test the product in the human beings. Most of the times, most of the products we test in healthy volunteers. For the cancer, like the antineoplastic products, the anti-cancer products, they are some other products, they're also tested in the patient population. But you have to prove that your product, when it is dosed to the patients or to the healthy volunteers, are showing effectiveness based on your prediction. You want to see the plasma of life within this much period of time. You have to draw the blood, test and prove that within this much period of time, the drug is hitting its maximum concentration in the blood. So that's how you know its drug is effective. The other part is the properties of your product, how quickly it dissolves. If you need a quickly dissolved product, if you need a sublingual tablet, if you need a sublingual film, you need to then design those type of process. So it all depends on your process, the technology you want to use. But definitely, first important thing, I'm very happy you asked the question is, think about the safety of the product. If you are manufacturing a product, which, for example, transdermal, many transdermals going to leave 90% of the drug in the patch itself. So how do you understand the safety of the product? Once you finish the usage of the patch, you need to wrap it up, and there should be something available for you to pack it and dispose it. It's safe for you, safe for the patient, safe for the planet. Those things you need to consider. Did I answer your question?
Yes. Thank you, sir. Sir, which type of drug is more efficacious, like that herbal drug or allopathic drug?
Say it again.
Sir, which type of drug is more efficacious, like that allopathic drug or the herbal drug?
Well, it depends on the type of drug you use. It depends on the type of indications you want to use for, and it depends on the type of design you would like to. You have to tell that. Nobody can tell you that. By understanding the various quality requirements, by understanding the various critical characteristics of the active ingredient, you can say that this is efficacy or not. Now, for example, some herbal products are effective and they have more, what you can say, they work at a very base level and they can sustain for a longer period of time. Whereas some chemical, like some drug substances, they are used and they get released very fast from the body. The elimination rate is very fast. But some of the product, even if the elimination rate is higher, you can design your product in a way you can make a sustained release. You can make a delayed release by which the material remains more period of time in your body to get the impact. So you can the efficacy of your product if you want, but it depends your design, understanding the process and the material. If you ask me, both herbal products as well as the allopathic product, both are efficacious, depending on the type of indications you use, depending on the type of technology you use, depending on the way you design the product, the formulation. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
You're most welcome.
Hello, good morning, sir. Myself, Dr.
Good
Satkar Prasad.
morning. Good morning.
Sir, my
Prashant.
one question is there.
Please.
Due to medical device, basically generic medical device, if any patient die, then any regulations and act related to there?
So, medical device, by use of any device, if somebody dies, right? First,
Yes,
you have to do the autopsy to understand that it is because of the device or not. Right? But before that, they all fall under the condition called AD, adverse drug events. So for devices, it falls under the AD for the device, and it has to be reported through a medical device report. It should be immediately informed to the call centers to the FDA. FDA has a website where you have to register this fatal event, which is called a adverse event. And it has to immediately go back to the sponsor for investigation. Now, but the various reasons for the adverse event. It might be the patient has some pre-existing conditions. It might be the drug is overdosed. Anything can be. So once the pharmacovigilance cell decides that it is because of the drug, because of the medical device, the drug inside the medical device, or because of the device itself, then the type of investigation starts, whether it is a manufacturing investigation, or it is a pharmacovigilance or toxicology evaluation, or it is something related to the patient specifically, like the autopsy and all, that will be done. And all those details need to be submitted to FDA. But many times it happens if any serious adverse event happens, which was not treated during the time of designing the product, FDA comes very heavily on this. Sometimes they may stop the manufacturing of such product unless and until you confirm the safety of this specific device or drug device combination product. Yeah. Answer your question?
okay.
Anyone else? Anyone else has another question?
Rajni madam, I think we should go for vote of thanks now, because it is
Definitely,
already late night over there. And
Yes,
our
yes,
guest
definitely. Definitely, sir.
doing a lot for us. It's already late night, so we can go
Yeah,
for
yeah.
vote of thanks now.
Definitely, sir. We'll just move
Hello.
ahead with vote of thanks. Huh?
Thank you, Rajni ma'am.
Just a second, Amit sir.
Okay.
Now we'll go ahead, and I'll invite Mr. Amit Dubey, Associate Professor from RKDF College of Pharmacy. Over to Amit Dubey sir for vote of thanks.
Thank you, Rajni ma'am. Honorable CEO Prasad Pillai sir, Registrar Dr. Shyam Patkar sir, Dean Pharmacy Dr. Shailesh Gatware sir, and our most valued invited keynote speaker Mr. Arvind Akshay Misra sir, and faculty member and dear student. It's my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. Respected Misra sir, your valuable knowledge is very precious for us and our student. You provided knowledge about different medical devices, combination product, drug devices, and especially quality system regulation. So thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Mr. Sir. And say good night to you, sir, because here's good morning, but you still asleep
Yeah,
night.
no problem.
Thank you.
It's my
Thank you very
pleasure
much,
to talk to all of you. And I think somebody's asking some question. Can you open that question, asking about some animal studies? Somebody's asking. question?
Yeah,
Can you open the chat?
somebody in between wants to ask some question. Anyone?
Please.
Please come forward with your question.
Good morning,
So,
sir.
question. Yeah, good morning.
So I'm Alicia Ali, and I want to that that no one can think animals or pet. That what gave drugs to animals, then they can eat easily.
Say again. I did not get your question.
Sir, I want to ask you that no one can think about animals, pets, dogs. That what drug gave to animals that they can take easily or eat easily.
Yes. So you're talking about the veterinary products, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So definitely that's a different segment of the pharmaceutical industry wherein the veterinary drug products are designed. There are injectables available. There are oral solutions available, which are given to the for the veterinary product for different diseases. They also have skin ointments. They also have the dermatological powders. Like for example, a pet, a dog having some body lice and all because of the skin situations. You have to apply those lotions on the body so that and when you apply that, I've come across some sort of formulations wherein, and those when you put it in the body of a dog or a cow, right? So it may turn around and lick the body. They always do that. So those products are designed with non-toxic products, substances. Even if it goes in the mouth of the weight or the animal, will not have any harm. So any product you design for any living beings, be it for any fisheries, be it to be used in an aquarium, be it to be used for in a herbarium, be it to be used for human being, be it to be used for any pets, you first need to think about the safety of the product when you're applying to that. On the skin, on the nose, to the intravenous, any route of administration you are thinking. But I am giving you this understanding of this information that all veterinary products are designed just like the human products.
Okay, sir.
The oral solutions, everything. And there are also orally dispersible tablets for antibiotics, which are used for the anthelmintics, which are used for the worms, infestations of the dogs and some of the pets. So they're used and they're designed and they're easily available in the market. It just goes to the mouth and then you can mix it with the dog food and they can eat it. That's it.
Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm. So looks like you are an animal lover.
Yes, sir.
So your dean and Dr. Silas is also a nature lover. You should connect with him.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Lover.
So, thanks a lot, Mr. Arvind, my elder brother. You are really a champion in the life cycle management of various pharmaceutical dosage form and medical devices. So my heartful thank to you. Thank you very much. We'll meet again. I believe our journey will continue.
Definitely. I'm really pleased and honored to participate in this discussion. I really feel happy to talk to the students. And I hope if a situation permits, we can come to your institute and can directly have a face-to-face interaction with the students. If there are any questions, then they can ask any questions to me and I can help them out. So definitely, I would thank everybody, each and every person who participated in this seminar, those who have hosted this program, the entire university and the management staff, my heartfelt thanks. And I hope I could have put some light to the students at this age so that they can take it further. And any faculty is interested to understand anything on research aspects, I have my own networking here. I can give you some information. I can add you in some informations in terms of any papers or in terms of any books. Feel free to reach out to me through Dr. Shailesh.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Nice meeting you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Resni.
Thank you, sir. Nice meeting you. And welcome to our university. Thank you, sir. Good night, sir. Good night.
Good night and have a
good day. And thanks to all of you. And stay safe.
Night,
Thank
sir.
you, Dr. Shailesh. Special thanks. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.